Hello, can everybody hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, thank you everybody for coming here. So this is the inaugural night for the Space Coast AI Collective. Very happy to have you guys coming in here. First I want to say thank you to everybody who's coming here. We also have some dignitaries here, like the mayor of their reach, right there, John Continuo. And so I'll introduce you to Stephen. Stephen works with me, getting this chapter going for the AI Collective. So to explain a little more, the AI Collective is an international group of AI enthusiasts trying to educate the public about AI, what it really is, what it will do. And tonight we're going to have quite a bit of excitement going on. We have some guest speakers. So Stephen over here will be talking. I'm talking right now. My name is Jürgen Schwanitz. I own this place, ACT Computers, and over here is Aman Sharma. He's the one actually coming from the AI Collective. So I'll hand this over to Stephen, and he'll sing a song.
You really don't want me to ever sing a song. Thank you all for coming. It's super exciting for us. Jürgen and I met about last summer when I was talking to the Chamber of Commerce about doing AI training locally. And they said, oh, we have someone that does that. So I said, oh, I'd like to meet him and see if I can work with him. And here we are. So I'm super excited for you to hear about the AI Collective. We're here to find out what AI means for this region. St. Lucie, Brevard, and Indian River County, that's our zone. I'm also going to talk to you about the other Florida chapters, but it's a huge and growing organization. And we're here to figure out how we can help with AI in your personal, professional, and business lives, okay? So that's my pitch. Aman?
Well, thank you so much again for coming. You have been hearing a lot of thank yous. But I think a special shout out to Jürgen for giving us the space and venue without asking anything in return. So can we have a huge round of applause for Jürgen? And let's for putting this together and being behind me that I want to open this chapter, help me out, and he was all the forces behind it. A little bit about me, going back into the previous slide, it has a fancy title, Florida director. It doesn't do anything. I don't get paid. Are you guys getting paid?
No.
Oh, we're still waiting.
Yeah.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah. So we'll look into the AI Collective, what AI Collective is. But a little bit of background. I moved to the US almost 3 years ago. I came on a just regular tourist visa, fell in love with the place, got my O1 visa, and since then I've been founding startups. And one of the things that I really found interesting about the unique thing about Florida, I'm in love with Florida now, but the initial spot where I landed was San Francisco. And San Francisco is all about the glory, about the hype that's going on over there, every hot stuff, everybody's trying to do the next big thing. And over there, I attended one of the meetups that AI Collective. At that time, it was just a living room discussion with a few folks who wanted to just nerd out stuff about AI, but also talk about the human side of AI as well, right? What does AI means? AI safety means? What happens when AI replaces humans? And all these discussions that all of us have, but we don't talk about. So they wanted to create this atmosphere, and that's how AI Collective came to be. And then I founded the Miami chapter almost 1.5 years ago. So Miami chapter is a strong 1,500 plus member community. We have done over 20 events in the past 1.5 years. And now we have started a chapter in Naples as well. Yesterday I opened up a new chapter in West Palm, and now we have a chapter in Spain. So the goal is to connect the grassroots community of Florida across different neighborhoods, whether it's universities or small towns or big towns, big cities, and basically bring people together, builders of AI and users of AI, so that we can have more intimate discussions over food and drinks, or some presentations, some nerd out talking, some business talking, so that we can all breathe the same air and talk about what we feel about AI. So I have a quick video that I want to show you of what the AI Collective is, because that does better justice to me.
The problem we see is that there's a growing gap between how fast technology is moving. We see it every single week with AI. And have our ability as society to understand, to adapt, and to guide the technology and the society around us. That is the core of what the AI Collective does, is creating those forums for complex, nuanced dialogue, for understanding each other, understanding our shared humanity, being vulnerable, being authentic, relating to one another, showing that compassion for each other. That really can only happen in person, and that's the core of what the AI Collective is. The AI Collective started way back when, in 2023, this was right after the launch of ChatGPT. Everybody started talking about AI, and the conversations that me and my friends were having every night in our living room, we were wondering if more people wanted to join the conversation. So I texted a few friends saying, hey, want to come talk about what's going on in AI with us? We gathered 12 people together in a room and just had the most incredible conversation that night. So after the first event, we had a dozen people. The second event, we already were up 30 people. And by the third event, we had over 250 people sign up for that third event. And going into the second year, we had more and more people reaching out to us who were visiting from New York, who were visiting from LA, visiting from Miami, saying, can I take them with me back to my city and start hosting these events? Early in 2024, we finally said, sure, to a couple of people. That's how the second chapter, the third chapter, etc., took off for the Gen AI Collective. Where we are now, we have 25 chapters globally. We are in 5+ countries around the world. We have over 70,000 members as part of the community, over 100 people on the organizing team, and it's just been, again, so humbling to be part of this exponential growth for our community and for AI in general. The people who are coming to AI Collective events are the pioneers in the frontier, the people who want to be on the very bleeding edge of what is possible, playing with the new technologies as they come out the day of, and then sharing those insights with the community members around them, and realizing that this leads to collective progress in a way that simply wouldn't be possible outside of community, outside of these events. My favorite thing about who is part of the AI Collective community is it's everybody. It's really that inclusive. So yes, we have tons of founders, we have tons of investors, we have researchers, we have operators, designers, product managers, people from all different industries, all different roles coming together and bringing their own unique insights, their own unique points of view together and creating collective insight. The AI Collective has grown at a rate I would have never expected, and I've been trying to figure out why is that, right? Why are we growing so quickly? I think it's because everybody sees, one, the need to bring people together, to bring together the pioneers on the frontier with how fast this technology is moving, simply to keep up. The second is because we're all wrestling with this. It's a deeply human struggle opportunity to figure out how do I adapt to this world, this technology that is moving so fast. It's a fiercely individual question, but it's also something for us all to figure out together, and this is a forum to do that. The AI Collective has 3 foundational pillars going forward. First is our events and community. We have chapters all over the world, and we're focused on hosting the best events and creating the most incredible community we can in each one of them. The flagship for all the events and community work we do is Singularity Fest, which we're hosting in San Francisco. Second, we are taking the insights that emerge from every event that we're hosting around the world, distilling them into actionable insights and recommendations, and delivering them to decision makers, whether that be policymakers, industry leaders, and the public at large, through the AI Collective Institute. And finally, our community is comprised of thousands of founders and hundreds of investors. We are also launching Collective Investments, which takes this incredible network we built from both sides and bringing together mission-aligned founders and connecting them with vision-driven funders. Going forward, we are opening more chapters, we're doing even more of these events, we're hosting a global conference, and we're doubling down in other ways. From Collective Institute to Collective Investments, we're making sure that the innovations and insights here turn into impact. So the AI Collective welcomes everybody who's fascinated with AI and believes in the transformative impact this is going to have on them and the society around them. It's as easy as checking out our website, joining the online community, and perhaps looking into attending some of our in-person events. Whether you're looking to learn, to connect, or to innovate, there's a place for you here.
So as Jackie, who is the original founder of the AI Collective, very well explained, what we sort of think of AI Collective is the human layer for AI. Not the AI layer for business or humans, but human layer for AI. And we saw that there was this missing gap. Everybody is accelerating at an exponential light speed rate. Everybody wants to build better models. Everybody wants to build open plot code and all these advancements. But we are missing the important piece which binds us together is like the human layer. And what we kind of feel is like throughout the history of time, and you guys have better experience and exposure to the world than me, I'm just a newcomer, but you've seen this progress happening. The PC revolution, the .com revolution, and all of that progress have been over here, and this is where we are. But AI is just like a hockey stick from here. So nobody knows what that thing looks like, but what we feel is to handle that rapid, accelerating pace of advancement, we need this human connection layer. So that video was a little bit outdated since that video was launched, I think, 6-7 months ago. Since then, we have now 250,000 members all over the globe. We have 250 plus chapters all over different countries. So the chances are, if you are traveling around the world, you might find a AI Collective chapter, and that's like the real goal, to bring in the grassroots communities throughout the world and people throughout the world together. So 250 plus global chapters, 37 plus countries, and we are completely non-profit. So we don't have any, we don't charge anybody for our events. We do get sponsors, but all of that is to sustain the growth of the community. But all of the events are open and inclusive to all different people. So far, again, this is a little bit outdated as well. Since then, we have hosted 2,000 plus events globally, over 600 plus team members, including now Stephen and Jürgen as well, and 80 plus partner organization. And basically, what all of us binds together are these three important community values. We haven't signed any agreements or binding agreements with the AI Collective. All we are binded are these three important community values, which is exchange insights. James was just talking about like how the value of exchange insights is basically coming together and sharing something that you know and learning something from somebody else. So we feel like, instead of us just, blabbering about how to use AI and learn AI in 1 hour, we want to bring people from the community and let them share the insights and let them share their expertise in that. So that exchange insights is the most important community value. And then we really, really deeply believe in human connections. That's why all of our events are in-person events, even though we are an AI community, which is like an irony. But we are trying to maintain that human strand of connections, because when you meet somebody, that's when you truly feel like what the other person is feeling. And then finally, we want to drive the collective progress. We really believe in positive sum outcomes. We feel like if we come together, we share insights. Now, two people have a better insights for the same topic. We are not stealing anything from each other. And then finally, people to scan the QR code. There are a bunch of these flyers. All of them lead you to the same place. Since you are already here, and if you RSVP'd on Luma, you are already a member and you will receive the updates. You can also join our online Slack community. If you are trying to find founders, investors, customers, or feedback on your products, the AI Collective Slack community is a perfect place to do all of that. And we'll also keep sending you updates on when we are doing the next event. The goal is to keep doing an event every month and keep you guys updated throughout what's happening with AI through different kind of events, whether it is like the AI for business talks today, or whether it's a hackathon or demo nights in the future. So just doing different kind of events and bringing people from all different walks of life together. So this is the agenda today. We are already at the AI Collective. So now we'll start with a featured talk. And we have Akshay Sharma among us, who will be talking about some incredible things he has been working on. So I'm going to let him switch next. Akshay, please come on stage. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Akshay Sharma. I've been a Gartner analyst for a decade, so I did a lot for government, some of the three-letter agencies here in the U.S. On cybersecurity. Published a ton. If you've ever heard of SASE for SD-WAN, the $50 billion market that Cisco, Palo Alto, Zscaler made a ton of, I invented it. Although I get no royalties, no patents, I just wrote a Gartner article in February 2016 and just gave it away. So now I've done the same thing. I've invented SASE, Sentient AI Services Edge. We talk about humans, governance, regulatory. Let's put some meat behind it. Let's put some governance, some regulations. So I'll be talking a bit about that. And then I'll actually demonstrate. So I'm semi-retired. I live in South Florida, Weston, Coral Springs. I'm a board member for two charities, local in Florida, one called Rosie Giving. If you've heard of Charity Navigator, to recommend charities to invest in, that's Rosie Giving. It's like a meta charity. We're actually working on a Gates Foundation grant with them. Melinda Gates.
We assume that.
Okay. The other guy, I think, has some other stuff going on. And then I'm also a board member for No More Tears. It's a Miami-based charity helping victims of domestic violence and human trafficking. It's a little bit more serious, and it's with a former Hollywood actress. So there, we created more or less a digital avatar. And I believe Jurgen's also going to demonstrate the same technology based on mypersonas.ai. The difference with Somi Ali being a former Hollywood actress and a psychology major, we made sure it had empathy and governance with regulations. Then with Rosie Giving, since it's more of a, you could say, a financial type of charity to navigate which charity you should invest in. It's like a holding company or a brokering of charities, KYC, AML, know your customer, anti-money laundering, make sure where the money's coming from, that it's legit. They have to do that kind of stuff. And it's founded by a former Credit Suisse First Bank executive. So there's a lot of SEC and all that kind of regulatory stuff. So I'll talk a bit about how you build all of that. From a, you could say, governance point of view and from an empathy point of view. So that's the former Hollywood actress, Somi Ali. So of course, with her charity and her bot, we had to make it more human and have human in the loop. Anytime the questions couldn't be answered, make sure we have a human in the loop. And because of the sensitive nature of some of the topics, domestic violence, human trafficking, we have to make sure if this is an emergency, please call 911. And we don't give legal advice, we're giving empathetic advice. And so we have to make sure there's some compliance from that perspective. So we built that, and then I'll also demonstrate the Rosie Giving charity AI. So one is more text-based and one's more human. Both have human in the loop. So the minute something is a little bit more serious that we can't answer, we make sure a human jumps in. So in this particular case, the Somi avatar, the Somi AI, we made sure we had built-in safeguards. I don't know if you've heard of these. Unfortunately, ChatGPT has had some ups and downs, let's call it. Unfortunately, some people ended their lives. I believe there's a litigation with that family. So we have to make sure there's an ethics framework, that if someone is talking about something pretty bad, we make sure there's a human in the loop. We make sure we call 911. We also make sure there's an empathy part. Maybe having a heart symbol, if it's a text, or having some sort of connection with the user. And then personalized guidance, and then having the LLM learn. It's not just a static PDF FAQ file that you load in. Whenever there's a human in the loop, there's some interaction, make sure we learn that answer, so that the next time we get that question, we can articulate that answer again. So both platforms have that. And so what we did is also having a warm welcome, say, hi, I'm the AI chatbot for Somi Ali, or I'm the AI chatbot for Rosie Giving. And so we had some, we could say, within our user journey, we made sure security, everything has to be personally identifiable. If there's any personal identifiable information, per GDPR or per CCPA, we have to be compliant. And then we're still in the process of building this out, but we're also doing a before and after. We're measuring, what is our user journey like before, and what is our user journey after. So we're metrics driven, we make sure we have all the dashboards. What is the time each person spends on the website? And there's also, guess what? A donate here button. 10% of the web people donate, 90% don't. What is the metrics after? So we can measure all of that and see if there's a positive contribution. And ironically, the Gates Foundation wants to make sure we have all those kind of metrics. So I guess they're money-minded too. I guess you don't become a $1 trillion company just by monetizing it. So we have to have all the metrics in there. And so the other thing is, the advice we're given, we have to also get confidence level. Are we giving the right advice and having the metrics of user satisfaction scores and whatnot? And so now you might hear, I think even in the opening presentations from Aman and Stephen and Jürgen, you may hear of things like LLM, large language models. You may hear, I think Clawbot was also mentioned, Anthropic is the company. They invented this thing called MCP. So you may hear of Model Context Protocol. That's, in the old school, I'm talking 1990s, that's old school. In the old school way of doing it, you would have an API, maybe a software bus, and you connect your application to that other application, and that's what system integrators used to do all the time. And there used to be software bus companies. Corvo was one back in the 90s, and of course you've got MuleSoft, you've got TIPCO in between, you've got all kinds of other companies. Now MCP is the new kid on the block with AI. It knows the API, and it allows you to connect client-server type architectures, and you get a lot of the building blocks in connectivity for free. It is secure, it is role-based access control driven, and all of that. You may hear about RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, and that's how the chatbots can access information like a company's PDFs, maybe some vector databases, some documentation to answer technical questions. So RAG, that's how you load in the knowledge base. And these are, you could say, some of the underlying technologies. And then what I've done is I've overlaid SASE, Sentient AI Services Edge. And so the idea is having compliance continuously verifying, continuously checking, making sure if it's a banking app, we're SEC compliant or Sarbanes-Oxley or whatever it happens to be, whatever the regulation is, we keep checking. You know, back in the day, I remember, you know, we would bring in the auditors, you know, from Deloitte once a year, and they would check to see where, or the best one was ISO 9000. You know, when I was at Siemens, oh my God, we'd tell everyone, this is Siemens in the T-Rex building in Boca. We would tell all our, let's just say our hacker engineers, or innovators who would work day and night and have no process or anything, to go home for a week, clean everything up. When the auditors came, we would, of course, check mark everything perfectly, and then we would invite our hackers back, because that's what you do. Now, you know, just because you're compliant on one day in those 365 days a year, doesn't mean you're always compliant. Well, now you can be compliant in real time. So that's the agentic era we're in now. Now, it doesn't mean you don't innovate or maybe have, you know, skunkworth projects. You just make sure it's separate streams, separate development. And now with work from home, you can literally do that. But making sure you're fully compliant all the time, that's a paradigm shift now that AI can do. So the other design principles, of course, psychologically, safety first, modular, everything had to be explainable, auditable, making sure that whatever we're recommending, we have a source, and we could look up and learn from the RAG environment. So whether it's my personas, that's the demo that Jürgen has, or Accure.ai, that's the other company I'm on the board for, we load in everything you give it, so you're under control. That's the other thing, is you want the AI model to be totally controlled. If you need it to be self-contained within your premises or your rack server over there, it's over there. It doesn't touch the internet, so you can totally control it. Unfortunately, some of these AIs, you give it to ChatGPT, it's open source, you know. So these are some things to consider. You can't read that, but bottom line is there's a lot of modules that there's active pieces, there's 11 labs, there's Agentics.pro, Accure I mentioned, and then you may have a CRM, a lot of customer relationship management systems, your trouble ticketing systems, your sales forecasting tools, and all of that. And then what we did is we made sure we go through a conversational approach, because everything is a conversation. We want it to be like human in the loop. Whether it's an AI talking or a real person talking, it had to be the same flow. And we wanted to make sure we had empathy built in. If a person is getting nervous, maybe say, hey, take it easy, breathe. Maybe hold it for 2 seconds. Output for 6, or whatever can guide you. These can be simple things. And then there are hard rules, no self-harm, for example, 911, consent-oriented, soft rules, like saying I hear you, avoiding moralizing, things like that. And then, of course, a dashboard to make sure we can monitor and manage it. So we built all of this, and I'll go straight. It's much better to just show something live. And I don't know, you're a director. Let's see if we can. I'll jump out of here. This is not the real website. I just created one on HTML, but you can load in and do web crawling of their actual website. But Here is the logo. This is a text-based, form-based approach. It can be visual as well. But in this case, we did a text one because they had forms, like if you're going to donate here or you're going to select this charity, a 501c3, what's their profile, what's your profile, you're going to supply text and it's going to guide you. And so in this case, we created one, and the main thing is I just asked it, what does Rosie do? It's accessing the knowledge base, it's thinking, and it's going to give what Rosie giving, hopefully, yeah. So now it's giving a whole bunch of information. And I give single tax receipt, event management it does. I don't know if you could read that, but there's a whole bunch of compliance things that it does. Main thing is it speaks 160 languages. So that's another differentiator. That, and it has the governance built in. So if there's KYC, tax, it'll generate a single tax form for, let's say, for claiming tax receipts for a donation.
So are these international charities where, let's say somebody's using it, you mentioned the different languages, why would that be required unless it's covering charities from all over the world? Is it just US based right now?
So No More Tears with SOMI is international, since many of the victims are from abroad, unfortunately. So hers is definitely international. Rosie Giving is US. But the guy who founded it is from Credit Suisse, comes with a banking background, so he has to be cognizant of local regulatory banking and tax laws. I'm sure if he gets the Gates Foundation grant, he might be international real quick. Definitely create a Canada chapter.
Yeah.
Canadians are nice people.
Yeah.
So that's one example. And with my personas, we're going to show, Jurgen's going to show a live demo very soon, but we have versions of this, oh great, where Somi is an author, and you can see smiling, empathetic, and then one a little bit more serious, where she is the president of the charity on domestic violence and human trafficking. So depending on the knowledge we loaded, it will give a different perspective or a different tone to the conversation. So I don't know if I can show this live. I can type, let's see. You're connected to the internet, or should I do it from your?
Yeah, it's connected.
Is that a browser here? Oh, there it is. Google Chrome. Wow. Yeah. We got technology. So this is the demo that Jurgen's going to show. And what's funny is I met Jurgen, what was it, twice last year at Silver Logic events in Boca. Then I was the moderator of a panel with Eric Vaughn, president of this company, at the IT Expo in Fort Lauderdale at the Crowd Convention Center. I believe you were right there in the audience. And we both were so impressed with Eric's company, we became buddies, and like literally, you created one. I didn't even know you created one, and then I created one. So let's see if I can log in. Wow. Of course, it says I should change my password, but I won't do that. And so we've got two active ones here. And this is the chat bot that's visual, where she's going to show empathy and
Hello, I am Somi Ali's AI chatbot, and thank you for reaching out. In case this is an emergency, please call 911. I'm really glad you're here. I'm here to help guide you and share information.
any question? Any random question?
How do I get traffic in data?
Oh.
How do I get traffic in data?
Whoa.
How do you get a trafficking visa?
It might not have recognized.
It's generating the answer. Oh, in this case, it says it's sent to the owner. And since the owner is me, I'll get an email to jump in. Okay, Somi, what does No More Tears provide in services?
No More Tears provides
Continue. Continue. What services does No More Tears provide? Okay, did it in text. Can you answer it in Farsi? Somi, can you answer the last question in French? Somi, what services does No More Tears provide, and answer it in French? Confused.
She's ready for my Publix.
That's the deli section.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, as you can tell, it's live.
You want to turn the sound up?
Can you answer it again in French? Oh, we got code.
Try asking her to speak or answer.
Turn the microphone on.
Okay, Somi, can you answer what services No More Tears provides in French? No, I think this one's confused.
Yeah, she had a couple glasses of wine already.
Might be on strike.
How about Sam?
maybe it's forwarded the question, it's pending the answer for me to jump in. So that's why that's. Yeah.
Well, if you want to, we can show this board here.
Okay, yours is probably better.
I hope mine is way.
But anyway, that was basically my presentation, so I want to thank you, and thank you, Jürgen. Thank you, team.
Thank you very much, actually, for this really interesting talk. Very well. Thank you so much. Thank you. So let me try to show you over here. This is actually the same system called microsonas using me. So, ask you anything. Not really anything, please don't do that.
Aliens real?
Yes.
So, hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello there. As a large language model, I don't have ears or the ability to hear in the way a human does. However, I can definitely read and understand your messages. How can I help you today?
Well, that was very smart answer right there, but I would like to know, what does PCS actually offer for IT services?
PCS Bureau offers a wide range of IT services, including managed IT services, fully outsourced, co-managed, or project-based, 24/7 live help desk, cybersecurity protection, and cloud services, AWS, Azure, and Office 365. They also provide specific managed service offerings like data backup and restoration, infrastructure support, network management, server virtualization, virtual desktop infrastructure, VDI, assistance, virtual private network, VPN configuration, and virtual CIO services.
Careful what you wish for. All right, well, you're gonna keep your answer a little shorter than that, because we don't have much time. I'm almost 50 years old, so you're gonna keep it short.
Now, how was this trained, you guys? What went into your training for this?
24/7 live help desk, cybersecurity, and cloud services, Azure, Office 365. They also provide data backup, network management, and virtual CIO services.
So this is actually does work quite well. So instead of using yourself as a person being around all the time, this is what the future is coming to. That you can use the AI avatar to be able to take phone calls, to take part of a boring meeting if you want to, take notes and such things. So just like actually was saying, this system works quite well. You train the system, it records your persona. This is actually done in my bathroom right there. Well, it's the only place I could find a good spot in the house with a white background. So, but it allows you to take your personality and use it wherever you want to. And you attach knowledge bases to it. So you can attach PDFs, websites, company manuals, whatever you want. When it realizes it's out of its ability to answer the question, it will refer that back to the owner. So it will has very strict guidelines what it can do and what it can't. This is a really cool system. So I think we'll also the next speaker would be right. Come here. Actually, let me take this over to Aman. One second. Jim. Right. Okay. All right. Jim is next here. Hello. Thanks, James. He's with AI Orbit, and he's going to show his AI, amazing AI mail system. Thank you, James.
Can everybody hear me without the mic? So. Use the mic.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have a cake. What would look cooler is if I had like the head.
Yeah, the little mic.
Yeah, but they'll get it. They'll figure it out. Okay, so a couple of things. I am not a tech person. I don't know anything about technology other than how to, do basic internet stuff like the rest of you guys, if you even know that. I think it's important because this is an educational
collective that I share just a little bit of my background. Not so much that it's a resume, but the point of it is that A, I'm 75 years old. E, I barely graduated high school. C, I went to college for 6 weeks. Everything I know, I've learned on my own. And my first career was a professional musician. Did that for 15 years. I made records, I toured, etc. I had long hair and a beard, similar to some of our folks here. And I was in the automobile business, I was in the consulting business, I opened an air and water purification manufacturing company and sold it to a New York Stock Exchange company. Then I opened Focustar Capital, which was essentially an iBanking firm. I should say an unlicensed iBanking firm. And we did very well. We did a lot of deals. I did deals internationally in China and Oman and Venezuela and the US. I've traveled to most of these places, not Venezuela, but I've been to Oman and Beijing 10 times. And then I retired. I bought a trawler, and my wife and I cruised for 6 years full-time, living on a yacht. We went as far north as Washington, D.C., as far south as the island of Grenada, and lived for 4 years in the southeast Caribbean. And then I came back at 22, and I went back to work. And I opened Focustar Advisors, and Focustar Advisors essentially is a business advisory firm. It still exists. And what I did to find leads is I went to the Chamber of Commerce and I asked them if they had a business roundtable event. And they said no. So I started one. And those roundtables, in fact, I think we have a past attendee sitting right here, Mr. Phillips. And these events were limited to only 5 people plus me. And there was no selling, no pitching, just talking about a business, what's working, what's not working, how can we improve it, we just talked among peers. And so at one of the meetings in mid-December, I asked a question to everybody. I said, what's your biggest pain point? And you get some of the usual answers. I don't have enough leads, my cash flow's a problem, or it's not stable. And then one of the attendees, a guy named Joe Chiarella, some of you might know him if you're in this community. He's an insurance guy, I think, with Seal Insurance or Sile, I'm not sure how he pronounces it. And he said, my damn inbox. So I said, well, what's wrong with it? He said, well, it's filled. There's hundreds and hundreds of emails every day, and it's almost impossible to work. So I said, well, how about if I fix it? He said, well, I'd love you to. I said, well, what would it be worth to you? And he said, I don't know. And I said, well, tell me. And he said, a couple of $1,000s. I said, how about $50 a month? He said, I'm in. So this was mid-December. I go home. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. Zero. So I think about it for a couple of weeks. And I'm working with Claude. I should tell you that in the end of 24, I started with AI. I didn't believe ChatGPT. I tried it. I didn't like it. I found Claude. I found Perplexity, and those are my 2 go-to models. And so I use Claude mostly. And I sat down with Claude and I said, okay, Claude, this is what I need to do. And I just talked to him in English. And the short story is that 10 days later, I had code on how to clean an inbox. When I say clean, I mean for the AI to read the inbox, categorize the emails into buckets like urgent, today, sales, customer service, newsletters, etc. And and to then label them as urgent, high priority, medium priority, low priority. And you can pick the order that you want. And for the AI to not only read the emails, but read the attachments so it has context, and then draft responses. And then I talked to one of my colleagues, and I said, I've got this, and he said, well, I like that. He said, but I have a problem with meetings. I have lots of meetings I have to do. It's killing me just setting them up. I have a board meeting with 10 people, and they're all over the world, and they're high-level Fortune 500 company kind of people, and I have to use the executive assistants of those guys. They all have to have a meeting just to have a meeting. So, it's like 3 layers deep. It takes forever to set it up. So I said, well, how about if I can fix that? He said, well, I'd buy it. So I've done that. You're not going to see the meeting, you're going to see half of the meeting part tonight. So I just wanted to give you these opening remarks so that you understand without knowing anything, but being able to be open and honest, and you have to have a little creativity. I mean, if you don't have any kind of a creative mind, I'm sure it could still work. If you're just an A and a B guy and there's no gray matter, just be honest and tell that to the public. This is who I am. In fact, Stephen taught me that one of the best things you can do is upload all your personal information about who you are and where you've been, and so that the AI gets to know you. I have not done it to the extent Stephen has, but I've done it, and in fact I set up a rule so that every morning when I sit down, it reads everything about me and all of the things I've done, so it has context. Because remember, from one chat to the other, it doesn't have memory. So that's one of the things you need to know. Anyway, enough about me and how I got here, but again, I just wanted to stress, trust me, if I can do this, anybody can do this. I want to do a quick survey before I present stuff. By a show of hands, how many of you have coding experience or AI experience? Raise your hand. Oh my, more than I expected. Excellent. How many use AI at work? Excellent. How many of you own or manage an organization or hold a senior management role? Also excellent. This is turning out very differently than I expected, and in a positive way. How many of you are curious how AI can help improve your work readiness? Well, this is a silly question. How many of you find yourself bogged down managing meetings and your email inbox? Okay, half. Okay, I already did the history, so let's get on with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 2 landing pages. And this is absolutely self-serving. I want you to know that. I'm going to show you 2 different landing pages, one that I built with Claude, and one that I had one of my developer teams build. And I want to take a survey, it's informal obviously, just going to show of hands. Which one do you think would be more attractive to a prospect to want to dig further into what I'm offering? So, he's been Gatesed.
What's time?
Let's do
Okay, so I don't want you to pay attention to the content so much. I'm talking about just the look and feel of it. So, and I'm going to get down here because I want to show you something that I think is. No, I turned my phone off. Sorry about that. I did. So now we scroll down. There are all the different apps: Otter, Gmail, Zoom, Teams, HubSpot, Trello, Calendly, and Outlook. that people tend to use. And my idea was, what if I can put them together in one system, kind of sort of. So again, the content's not the critical thing. It's the look and feel. And then this is, you know, how it works. And then we have, you know, who it's for, and comparing us to some competitors and the prices, all the usual stuff you would expect to see, and some on more prices. And, don't pay attention to the content. And then, you know, your CTA, and then you're done. Okay, so that's the site that I built with Claude. Now, okay, this is the site my developer built. Again, don't worry about the content. It's inconsistent. Obviously, this is a traditional, modern white background, which is sea rock color, which is very appealing. Same comparison charts. Just a little more accurate. Let's go on it. And there you have it. So by a show of hands, who likes the first one the most? By a show of hands, who likes the second one the most? I knew this was going to happen. It's almost a tie. And AI, I told AI what I was going to do, and he said, well, what are you going to do if it's a tie?
There's too much below the fold on the first one. You got your copy. I did UI training and teaching for 10 years. Yeah. Your graphic needs to be bigger and above the fold.
Okay.
Don't expect them to scroll for anything.
Okay.
A landing page is just that, a landing page, not a scrolling page.
Ah.
I used to use that line in my UI courses.
Okay.
So, sorry.
Oh.
But I'm from New Jersey, you're going to get what I'm going to think.
I want your feedback. So that's
69.
So that's great.
63, Long Beach Island.
Okay.
Get out of here.
All right, so now we started building. I'm going to show you the demo on the app now, and we'll just go with that. Okay, so you log in. So let me log in. Okay. Okay, so this is a meeting-centric app. Oh, there's a story I didn't tell you, I gotta tell you. So this started out as an email-centric app. And we had it all built, it was pretty much finished. And March 27th, I was informed, because it was publicized, that Google and Microsoft announced that they now offered the same email tools that I built. So I said, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. And to myself, of course. So, I mean, I was kind of devastated. So then I had to go back, I had to regroup, and I had to do now market research on meeting-centric. What I discovered is that the market for meeting-centric is almost bigger than email-centric. And so we had to rebuild everything. That started on April 1st. So everything you're going to see here, we put together in 15 days. So that you land on the calendar, and you can see, I have appointments there, and of course this syncs with my Gmail. So that's where those appointments come from. And because I don't, how much time do I have left?
A few minutes.
A few minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta rush.
Not a 45-minute lecture, Professor.
Thank you. So here's the meeting, so I'm gonna do this really quickly. But let me tell you one thing about how the meetings work. So right now, the way this is designed, if you get a request from somebody that says, hey, I read your thing, you think we should have a meeting and talk about it, the AI reads that email and says, okay, boom, you gotta set up a meeting. And what it does is it looks at your calendar and it finds open time slots for that meeting. And it spreads it out over a week or whatever. And so it does that, and it generates a response. I'm going to show it to you in a second. And then from there, it's a manual process, just like it is now, where you've got the AI is going to send the email to the other guy, and then you have to press send. Nothing happens unless you authorize it. So it generates the response. Hey Jim, yeah, these slots are available. Let me know what's best for you. The other guy gets it. He reads it. He responds back. Okay, I'll take Thursday. Blah blah blah. And then of course you've got to right now manually send another email that the AI generates that says, well, do you want it? What time do you want it on Thursday? Here are the opening slots. And then of course they agree. And then the AI will build a meeting invite. All you have to do is click send. On the next version, the AI will send a message to the other party in the meeting with a form asking if it can look at their calendar, read only, to see a mutually acceptable time between the 2 people or the 10 people. And it will automatically find the premier spot and an alternate spot where everybody's calendars show an availability, which now solves the guy who had the problem with the board meetings. And by the way, this will calculate travel time, buffering in the front, buffering in the back. And so if somebody's coming from Paris, the AI will figure out how long the flight is, the ground transportation, etc., looking at plane schedules, we'll figure all that out automatically. But that's coming in July. This is coming in May. So let me, do you want me to prove to you that it works? Because I can. Or do we not have enough time?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Trust me? Well, let me just show one example. So let's look at, let me go to the inbox. So here's the inbox. Okay, so you can see here, these are the categories I told you that AI, that we have set up, and these are the priorities here. So let me scroll down a little bit because I'm going to show you where this took place. Should have brought my knee pads. Okay. Okay, so I set this up. I sent an email from one of my other email addresses to this email address, and you can see when it was received. Oh wait, this is towards the end of the. Hold on a minute. All right. Here we go. Okay, this is the first one. So here's where the email was received. Meeting request detected. And he writes back, I read the contract, suggested we have a video chat, and then the AI writes a response. Happy to jump on a call, walk you through the contract. Here are a few times that work on my end. And he picked 3 dates and different times. So what I want to show you now, and I won't go through all the banter, But on April 23rd, he said before 2:20 or after 6. So now we're going to go back to calendar on April 23rd. Where is it? It was here yesterday.
Scroll up here in May.
Ah, thank you.
Right there.
Right there, okay. So, something was missing because this is not a meeting. Well, it worked yesterday, and I don't know why it's gone now. Oh, I know, because I deleted it. So, yeah. So I apologize for that. I assure you it works. So really, it's Q&A. Got questions?
So you're is that more or less a business AI platform that you developed?
This is a business. Yeah, this is designed for small to medium-sized businesses.
All right, okay. And so you can't do like general AI questions. It's more for organizing your schedule as a business.
Organizing your schedule and your email, and it's email and meeting intelligence.
I was on 3 boards and scheduling the board meetings. It's like 42 EAs dancing around
Right.
talking to each other for 2 weeks.
Right.
So that's,
And I don't know if this would pertain to you. By the way, your background's amazing.
Thank you.
It's really amazing story. My question is, and this is a general one, AI, I've just started using it the last 6-7 months. I was with a media company in Brevard County, I just moved here recently. And my background was kind of rudimentary with ChatGPT. I thought ChatGPT was kind of
I agree with you.
simple. I started using Copilot 360. And
Yeah.
I really like Copilot 360. I don't know if you guys really have the time to get into this tonight. What is the difference in the major platforms out there? Because again, I just started using it, so I'm kind of wondering what's
Okay.
good out there. What's good?
don't let me talk to you about cloud code. I won't
There's-
So let me
I have some examples.
Okay.
Sure.
from a layperson, because Steven's not a layperson, so as am I. I started with ChatGPT. I didn't like it. I didn't like its attitude. I didn't like its answers. I just didn't like it. So I tried Claude, and I found, and again, I'm a business guy. I only wanted this for business. Excuse me. I went to Perplexity next. I went to Perplexity, and what I found was Perplexity was really good at certain things, writing and researching. It's really, really good at that. But it wasn't good with spreadsheets, and it wasn't good with other work that I have to do. So I started working with Claude. And Claude was like, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I love Claude. Because it's a business-centric system. It was designed for business. If you notice, they're not trying to get ma and pa kettle. They're not looking for retail customers. They want business customers. And they're winning that race. So I use Perplexity and Claude, again, as a layperson.
I'm assuming everybody that's getting into the AI, business now, you're going to have patents for all this stuff, obviously, or not.
Well,
So you could be, your information could be stolen like that.
yes, it could, except the time to build it takes so long. I'm so far ahead right now. For somebody to try to steal what I've done, take a minimum of 6 months. By then, I'm in the market. So, anyway, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much. Answer your question about models, and it's very, very important when you're getting started. This on? Sorry. The models are very different, and models do different things. So it really is, and it's hard to keep track. It's hard to keep track. The models are advancing every day, and they do different things differently. So it's hard to say one model is over other, but I will tell you have the Microsoft word of AI in that world, and it's not really well regarded. Okay, so I'm going to try and lighten the load here, and we're going to give you some real world. Sorry, where should I stand here? Jurgen, is it just a space to advance? Okay, so, I'm sorry. Yeah. I teach at two universities, and I still can't use it. So I can't use a mic, apparently. Okay, so it's an amazing crowd here tonight for our first event. There's educators here, there's business people, there's founders, and there's builders, obviously like Jim, who's amazing for someone his age to be building an AI app at this point in his career is amazing, and his life story is really fascinating. I had lunch and told him that my Claude Code was spanning my Gmail every morning and reading it and triaging it. So I was kind of a downer, Debbie Downer for Jim over at lunch. Anyway, you don't need to be technical, you just need to be curious. My favorite line these days is we're living through the revenge of the liberal arts majors, because I really do believe that. The better you are with humanity and then just linguistics and vocabulary and nuances of human communication, the more you're going to get out of AI. And the reason for that is because it was trained on everything we've ever read or written. And that's what most people don't understand. Yes, the New York Times is suing OpenAI, and they have every right to. But the fact is, these Gen AI tools were trained on the human writing of our entire civilization. So it's actually thrilling what we're living through, to be honest with you. Okay. It's still not working. Sorry. I'm super excited about the Collective AI, AI Collective, because I do think it's an important thing for our community. I'm talking to a few of you here. We can't expect our government or our societal institutions to help us with this revolution now. We kind of have to do it ourselves. And that's why I'm passionate about starting this chapter. Who am I? I had a weird career like Jim, too.
Excuse me?
Well, in a good way. I'm a professor at two of the largest universities in Canada, in Toronto, and I don't consider myself a professor, but I'm called that every day. So I'm just an educator. I spent 25 years in marketing agencies, Saatchi & Saatchi, and in New York on Madison Avenue, and then I moved to Canada in 1999, and I was a citizen, and I'm a citizen of Canada too. I moved to Sebastian to take care of my father in October, but I've been coming here for 10 years, so I know the area, and that's why I'm passionate about developing this area in terms of AI. So anyway, I'm still teaching, and I developed the first marketing curriculum for the CMA in Canada. So 5 years, I developed 8 courses, 50,000 words each, and I edited every word of those courses. So I'm using them to train AI now. Okay, so I really do think, like Aman was talking about, what's great about the AI Collective is that it's in person, it's people talking to each other about AI, and I really do think that AI lets us be more human than machines. Like, let the machines do what they do, and we all get to the benefit of them. I know it's hard to sit through a Fox News segment and not be depressed about things like that, but at the same time, we have to fix this. We have to get this right. We have no choice. Okay, so I came up with 5 recent projects I did using Claude Code. And I bring them, I'm going to tell you about them as learning experiences and learning stories, because I am not a coder either, even though I can code. I just never really have. I hired a lot of programmers. But at the same time, these 5 stories show you what I recently did with Claude Code from a little desk in Sebastian. All right, got new context, new prescription. I took the prescription home, put it in the scanner. I said to Claude Code, here's my new contact lens prescription. Go find me a great retailer and get me a discount. It searched for about 20 retailers online. It had my prescription. It found a discount code, and it actually filled in the grid of the prescription itself. I did not touch the computer. I watched Claude Code run Chrome. And it actually struggled. I was talking to Aman because my token usage was going up because it was struggling to fill in the prescription grid. And the one thing it struggled with was a pop-down or a pop-up, the way the screen was, and it figured it out. It said, oh, I got this wrong, I had to figure it out. And it filled in the code and got me a $200 discount on my contacts. And I had them in 2 days. And I didn't have to search or compare prices at all, other than choose it. Okay, I have a wealthy retired friend. He and his wife are retired. They have a big Escalade. It's a lease. It's coming up for a lease. He told me it was a pain in the ass for him to kind of figure out what he needed to do. I sat down with him on the lanai. Claude gave me 8 questions to ask him. I asked him those questions. I put the answers in. It built a 12-page recommendation and a full spreadsheet for him to use to choose his next vehicle, leased versus owned. It looked at all the models. It looked at the comparison. It went to the dealerships within his living area in Long Island, and it compared the prices, and it recommended him to buy to lease a used vehicle.
Lease a used vehicle?
Yes. And it found him 2 dealerships, and it gave the whole breakdown of the rationale for it. Yes, and he was shocked. He ran L'Oreal. He was a major salesperson for L'Oreal, right? And we dread going to Walmart every year because they tortured him. Okay, I have lived in Canada for 25 years, even though I'm a U.S. citizen. So what the hell is Part D? You know, I'm 67. I need Medicare Part D. I don't know from Part D, and even the light reading of it was like, what? I have to find what to do what for? I mean, you can say what you want about healthcare, but Canada, no one has these conversations whatsoever. So it was like, okay, Claude Code, I need Part D. I uploaded all my documents, all my information. It scanned, it found me a no premium Part D, and I signed up, and it's great, and I didn't have to do a goddamn thing other than click send. So another tedious kind of pain in the ass task that AI made seamless and gave me the power to control. Okay, so and this I probably shouldn't be telling you, but I teach at the Toronto Metropolitan University. It used to be called Ryerson. It's 7,000 students. It's a massive university. And they asked me to do an AI and business upskilling workshop. And I was like, well, okay. I've done this for boards. I've done this for management teams. I've trained many people on AI fundamentals. And I worked with a University of Guelph professor who has 720 students in his current class. And he built an AI tool just to help grade his papers. And the school acknowledged that. Anyway, I built a 16-hour workshop in about 2 hours, and it is by far the best work I've ever done, and Claude Code wrote every word of it. So it can multiply you. That's what I want you to take away here. It can multiply what you love to do, what you need to do, what you need to do in your businesses, what you're personally curious about. It can multiply the efforts. It can streamline your use of the internet beyond the speeds that you can really ever imagine. And you've got multiple stories telling you about this today. But I encourage you to keep learning, keep coming to the collective events, and keep sharing your information, because that's what we're really here to learn from each other. Okay? So what I think we'd like to do now is, Aman's here. We'd like to encourage you to ask any questions you want at all. Like, I could talk about models forever or recommendations, but I do think that we're at an inflection point with AI now because too many people are using it like Google, question in, answer out. That's not where we are now. And in the last couple months, you've seen Anthropic's revenues shoot up.
19 billion.
Yeah, from
19 billion annually.
yes. So, and the explosion of people on TikTok talking about Claude Code and what they're doing now is amazing. It's just amazing. So I'll hand it over to Aman too to handle some questions about the collective, but anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, I just want to add like one point. You might be hearing like a lot of these headlines about people being unemployed, fired from their jobs because company wants to invest in technology and AI and stuff like that. And there was like a study that there's roughly around like 6 million people in total, which can be traced back to AI being responsible for this trend. And one thought experiment I want you to think about is like, what are these 6 million people doing? They're not sitting home, and not all of them are like, some of them are in their 30s and in 40s as well. I was watching a video of somebody who was working at JP Morgan at a very senior position, and he was fired. And he thought like he was secure. So a lot of people think that the AGI is yet to come. It's already here. Human beings have a habit of feeling the daily pain, but not feeling the eventual cancer. Right? AI is like that eventual cancer that is slowly eating up the society. And this is coming from me. I'm a CTO. I'm a technical guy. I've like literally exhausted my Claude Code token usage just today itself. So I breathe this air. But at the same time, I see at the human side as well. I'm a practicing Buddhist, so I'm deep into spirituality as well. I spend 2 months with monks every year to just meditate and like to see what's happening. So, what are these 6 million people doing? Does anybody has any idea?
They're looking for a job.
No, there are no jobs anymore. Exactly. They are like in short, they are becoming entrepreneurs. They are building their own businesses. The rise of entrepreneurship and people building startups has never been this high. It's crazy, not just in the US, all over the globe. And also, there is a byproduct of AI that it makes it so easy for you to start your business. Right? I know somebody who had $12 in his pocket and he was able to register an LLC, set up a website, set up an email domain, everything within 1 day, and like, now he has a startup. And imagine doing the same thing 10 years ago. You would have to hire a lawyer, go through all this legal process and everything. It has made it so much easier. So what humans are good at, when they have time on their side, is they find problems. And trust me, I'm human, I know how many problems exist. There's one problem for everyone over here. So one important thing I want all of you guys to take is, what is the problem that you are deeply interested in? And there is something that you know way well than AI ever could, because you have lived that domain. You've lived the domain expertise, and AI is never trained on that. So the opportunity which Stephen was talking about is the multiplier effect. Is it still on the screen? Go back. This is the important stuff. Right? AI is not going to replace human. AI is going to multiply. And the person who is not going to use AI is going to do it. And that's the sad part. But also another thing I keep thinking about is like when internet came, right? All of us, what is the kind of work we are really doing these days? We are reading emails, like as James was talking about. We are setting up meetings. That's not work. That's creative work, just so that we can, communicate with each other. Right? That's like, Jurgen wants to sell a computer. He has to talk on a chatbot for 20 minutes with somebody who wants to buy a computer. It's just like made of work because all of us humans, we are trying to collaborate and pass context to each other. That's what agents are simplifying. That's what AI is simplifying. It's compressing the context, an agent for each one. Like on the business side as well, that's the business side of AI, and then the personal side of agent as well. And then in future, it will be like mass agent economy where agents are just talking to agents, right? So what I'm curious about is, what are your thoughts on this topic, right? What are the questions you have, and anything about the AI collective, or any concerns that you have about the AI? That's the topic that I'm deeply interested in. And also, what are the type of topics you would like to learn in the future, and what kind of events you would like to have? So Stephen and Jurgen, can keep on doing this hopefully every month, and then we want to like keep growing this community.
By attending this meeting, are we now members of the AI collective?
Yes, sir, you are
Okay.
officially. Yes.
You are in the database, and I didn't elaborate on it quite as much as I should have. But to talk to your point about perplexity too, when I sat down with Jurgen and in this room and I said, let's have the first chapter, I've lived in Canada for 25 years. I have no network here. So I knew I was starting from scratch. Jurgen is the perfect partner to do this with, fine. But at the same time, I went out to Perplexity and I gave it a full brief. Here's who I am, here's what I'm looking to do. And it built a Notion database with Claude Code. I didn't even ask it to build a Notion database. Let's start there. I told it I just need to build a outreach database. Here are my criteria. It was maybe about an hour's worth of work. Those prompts generated files that were put into Claude Code, and it built a database. So everyone in this room was interacted with that database in one way or another. It is now 680 records. It has detailed notes on the correspondence because my emails are scanned every morning, and I am sending probably 80% of my emails are written by Claude Code right now. I do see them and make sure they are what I want them to send before I attach my signature. But it has fully multiplied the power. I couldn't have built that database if I worked on Red Bull for 2 weeks like a crackhead.
Yeah, I've come to believe if you are not looking at Stephen, you are not talking to Stephen. It's probably his thought talking. Like, you can see his messages as like sometimes Claude would leave a little signature sent by Claude. That's like, that's Stephen. So
if it's 9:30 at night and I have something to update the team, I'm just going to say let Jurgen and Aman know what's going on. I don't need to edit the Slack. I don't need to write the Slack comment, but off it goes into Slack. And a lot of people are scared about privacy. I get it. But what I say to my father, bless his heart, is like, if you think you have privacy in 2026, you are kidding yourself. Your phone, the credit cards, like the FBI could find you in 10 minutes if you're in a public deli. Yeah, I mean, so I'm not saying don't worry about privacy, but I'm also saying don't cut off your nose to spite your face and not learn these tools based on your fear of privacy. Go ahead.
Yeah, fundamentals, when I first started using AI, maybe you could talk about this for a second. I'm always worried that if I use AI still, for just like you're talking about, a general email, that somebody's going to go, ah, he used email. He used AI to do this, craft this email. I'm still worried about that. Obviously, Copilot, Dash, get rid of those, or otherwise it's obvious. But I'm just saying, have you seen over the last few months, year, whatever, that AI has gotten better at that, or the algorithms have changed where you can't tell? It sounds like it's really coming for me because it knows who I am. I've put some certain words in there and it's going, okay, I think I know what he wants to do, say. And it doesn't sound like it's been written by a computer.
Yeah,
yeah, sure.
So obviously, the more you train AI, that's what it works with. So it learns who you are, the way you talk. As you can tell, I have an accent, German, so there's lots of things I say backwards. And so my AI system responds to that and learns from that. So when I actually respond to emails, and I get lots of emails that are generated by AI, that's true. Customers send me emails from AI all the time, and I realize, hey, that's email, that's AI. I copy my AI system and say, hey, answer that with what I want to say in the way I speak, the way I would say it. It will respond to that properly. Paste it in there, and off we go. So the more you have a conversation with AI,
still come out talking backwards?
yes, it does. Wonderful, isn't it? Yes.
You cannot give too much context to these models. And what I mean by that, I mean, you can go to extremes like unfortunately I did. I've been writing a journal for 11 years. Those files exist, 100 words, 200 words that I've written every single day. I realized I could upload them to Claude Code. So I did. Claude Code spit 5 agents out to read 2 years at a time. And those agents then combine their thoughts. Claude Code knows me better than most of my family. And brings up nuanced points that I would have never expected.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that AI has a personality, for sure. And you can tweak that personality. There are like systems coming in, it's called soul.md. If you follow the news, OpenFlow and everything, they have this file structure. Claude has this file structure as well. So you can give it a personality, just a simple test like any system that you use, ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, it has built-in memory now. So if you, instead of giving the task, just ask it. So for example, one of the signature way to identify if something is written by human versus AI is like if it's a long dash.
No, that so aggravates me because the M dash is a perfectly good grammatical tool.
Yes, but not humans because it's not on the keyboard, so it's not
Yeah.
like
I love it. I do too. I'm actually sorry. I'm a little pissed. I just wrote a 1,600-word article that I didn't write, but I wrote, and it's got M dashes in it. And I sent it to the editor, and I realized I could have stripped them all out.
Yeah.
But the M dash is a beautiful grammatical pause.
Yes.
And if you read the New Yorker, which unfortunately I have been reading since 1972, it's full of M dashes. So I think the AI, I'm sorry to weigh in because I feel strongly about this, AI did the M dash a real disservice.
But like one thing that I did whenever I switch to a new tool is like it allows you to import memories from external system, and it's like just a prompt that you can get from a previous system to import memories, and then you can just like tell it instead of using M dashes, use like short dashes, and it will remember it, and then from next time onwards we'll do that. Coming back to Mike Yours point, so yes, Vero Beach is a dot on the map now. This is the AI Collective global map. And you can see we have all the chapters, all the cities over here. You can see mine photo, Stephen's photo, Jurgen's photo as well, and like and so all of you guys are on this map, which means this is truly like a global movement that we are doing and we are being part of.
And to go back to AI detectors, a student from the University of Toronto about 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago, actually tried to patent an AI. He launched an AI tool to detect AI writing, and OpenAI launched a product. It was rejected and taken down. They don't work. There is no way to actually detect AI generated text perfectly. So just keep that in mind.
You had a question?
Let me come back to it.
Okay, no worries.
What I wanted to say in general is that, I started with computers when they were basic. My first PC was a CDM machine, and then I had a Commodore VIC-20 and a C64. And back then we had some, programs running basic that kind of simulated some kind of AI system. To say hello, and it would come back to you. Yeah, how are you, and blah, blah, blah. And that was amazing back then. But now imagine what we have. This is something that's truly revolutionary. So I want you to all realize that this is something that can definitely improve your lives and your businesses, but you have to be open to it. It's not like, don't shut yourself out. It's something we never had before. Okay? It's a tool. It's like something you put on your shoulder and say, okay, I can improve my life with things like that. And just like we saw from Jimmy earlier, you don't need to have a deep knowledge of technology and coding. Yes, it does help, but then you can hire people afterwards. But you can get your business running and your idea going with AI right now and get something running. This never happened before. So,
no, but even if, like, say you have a couple of Midas dealerships or a couple small businesses, and you're running up into the issues with admin or kind of managing budgets and that sort of thing. You could upload your budgets for marketing for the last couple of years into Claude Code, have it analyzed, do your plan, suggest things that you would not necessarily think of yourself. That sort of business applications is what I think the AI Collective here in the Space Coast can really help with. Yes, there's big industries here, but hospitality, tourism, that sort of thing. people are struggling to make a business with the margins so tight and inflation. These tools can really help you do things that you may not have thought you were capable of before. And it's important to empower your employees and your network too. That's part of the collective's message, is to spread the word, get people talking about it. I was talking to a few of you here before. Individual AI champions within your businesses or organizations are hugely important, because if no one's going to run with the ball, you're going to get left behind, and a business will take over that you don't think can. And so don't let that happen to you. Lean into it. And also, it's not, it is, there's personal and professional reasons for it. I think in my training and talking to people, it's amazing to see the light bulb go up sometimes, because it can help you with personal chores and personal tasks and personal professional fulfillment that you might not have expected.
I guess like we have made a point.
Yeah.
Use AI.
Yes, use it. And also, also if you don't think you're using it, you're kidding yourself, because it's everything you touch is using AI around you now. It's not like it's some alien force. It is here. It's in all the apps on your phone. It's trying to figure out what you're trying to do. And of course, there's downside to that, the spam and the slop. I teach marketing at a major university, and a lot of the marketing students just see this, and the marketing companies see this as just another way to generate ads, where we're fighting that. Don't generate just more ads. Do it thoughtfully. Do it more targeted to your consumers. And marketers, brands have a real opportunity here. They have what in my world is called primary data. That's the data that your users actually are giving you back. So if you're Delta Airlines, you have millions of people using that app every day. That data can inform your AI strategies. And that's people really using your app in your company. So it can be used in small businesses to the large ones.
Any other questions?
So, in different industries, there are service providers. Let's say, for example, I'm in financial services. There are people constantly marketed about reaching out beyond your neighborhood. And when it comes down to it, those types of leads you might get in your business can be literally, because they see the value of what that additional account could be hundreds of dollars. There's got to be a way to replicate something, maybe not on that scale, but something I can do in my individual business to either seek out specific types of prospective clients, like certain niche markets that I'm working in. Is it better to try to embed it yourself, or find somebody in the community that's been doing it for other industries, where maybe they don't see, not that I want to try to be as efficient with my marketing capital as possible. So would you suggest, hey, try to work it on your own, that way you're home sourcing it, or should I be looking outside of my?
I think like both. And this is the huge exponential explosion we have with the AI. Like, you don't need to think about resource constraints. You can literally do both things. While you are sourcing and finding the best marketing agency around, like that can help you do that thing, that might have done maybe case studies and stuff, you can actually start using Plot, like just like the normal version you get online, and just ask it to start doing it. Plus there are, if you just making a search for it, there are agentic tools which we use, like Origami, Apollo, which are pretty good at finding doing single intent based account-based marketing and stuff like that to actually find that. But the general idea is that with AI, you don't need to think about investing capital. You can actually ask it to simulate. Like, one of the things that I try to do often at times is, like, when I'm in the same conundrum, it's like kind of walk with me sort of scenario in which, like, I generate a roadmap in which I say, like, okay, if I do this, what happens? Okay, you tell me this, but I think this is going to happen. So kind of like play a role play with it, and because it has access to the data and the context, so it can give me the real information, and I'm not just like building assumptions in my head. This would cost this much and all that. I'm being corrected over facts. So, like a lot of people think that AI is actually making us dumb. I think AI is making us more curious.
Yeah.
Because now we are not settling with the answer. Previously we were like, oh, I need to go look up in a book, or I need to talk to somebody, or I need to Google it. Now it's just like you have answers directly in your hand. And that has made us like, okay, why do I stop thinking now? Why can't I keep on going deeper and deeper and deeper? So that is the positive side of things, and I think in business this applies so much well. And another thing is like, just don't take the first answer that AI gives you. Try to counter it. Try to like, play sort of role playing with it. Try to like open 5 different chat windows, asking the same thing and see what comes out. Compare with Perplexity and other models as well, Claude and OpenAI, and then make your case.
That-
I just
that's-
want to weigh in because I've been using Perplexity on a local basis. Just don't be shy about using Perplexity. What most people don't realize is Perplexity does the best web search, but also sources where it's coming from, so you have less hallucinations. And also, I've used Perplexity for this region, and it's quite wise. So if I were you, I would recommend that you don't go to a developer per se. You say, this is who I am, this is what my business is, this is what I'm doing, this is what I specialize in. This, write a fair bit.
Yeah.
And say to Perplexity, who's doing this nearby, if anyone, you know what I mean? And spend 20 minutes with Perplexity and then fall that into Claude or ChatGPT or another LLM to kind of help you with a plan. And you'll be surprised because it always shows you things that you never, you may have heard of that competitor, but you didn't know they were doing this, that sort of thing. And also it'll show you where you come up.
Yeah. Well, 2 things. Number one, I'm a teacher. I've gotten into AI probably 2 years ago. I can't tell you how it's helped with burnout. You go day by day, and it's a struggle with behavior challenges, and then you have to almost reinvent the wheel every year with changing curriculum. And I've been using AI to assist me in that, and it's been fantastic. But a lot of things that you're saying is resonating because I'm also never tinkered in code, and now I'm using all sorts of building code to do little stupid things that I tinker with as hobbies. But now I'm getting into coding and robotics with students now. And one of the things is that our social dynamics changing. You mentioned 6 million people losing their jobs. I think, to be honest, half of them are entrepreneurs, but I think the other half are no longer feeling the fear because they have something like AI and they can make that change. As teachers, I've been a teacher for 20 years and I've always tried to get out, and it's the fear of trying to jump into something new. And I'm going from being one teacher to a different, and I'm not scared because I kind of have AI there to help me build new curriculum, to take on some challenges and take things off of my plate, like you say. With that said, the second thing that I was wondering is,
I just want to add one point over there before you ask the question. It's like I was listening to Andrej Karpathy, which I don't know how many of you know. He's like a very, it's like on the top edge of whatever agents can do. And he was saying a very interesting thing, like that previously we used to create curriculum and content for teaching to humans, right? So now there is an interesting point of time where teachers are using AI to generate curriculum for students. But then students on the other side are using AI to understand the curriculum, right? So why is this cohesion? Why we are creating stuff that ultimately is gonna be consumed by agents? So there is an interesting thing, and he was talking about the knowledge compression is gonna come to a point where you are actually building stuff for agents only. And then if an agent can understand a concept one-to-one, then it will be able to explain it to anyone. So the knowledge that we know today, half of it is inflated because we have to add footnotes and a lot of basics and table of contents, mention references, like how do we come to this conclusion. But agent doesn't need any of this. Right? So you can boil down a concept to the unique essence of what this true novel concept really is, and only explain to the agent that thing, and then that agent is going to go and teach the student whatever they want. This is going to be the new form of content consumption. Yeah, go ahead.
The second thing is like I see my personas, the gentleman who had the business email and I forget the name right off.
James.
It's good, James.
AI or.
Yes, AI Orbit, which was fantastic. Does the collective have like a spreadsheet with AI things to go?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a general place for partners that we work with. These are like some of the companies that we have worked with, but in a sense of like all the tools, we don't actually kind of endorse one particular company in person. But I was talking with Justin just about like this thing, like how do you keep yourself, like part of the question is how do you keep yourself up to date with the tools and like what kind of tools you should use, right? So general thing is like just general hygiene, like following a couple of leaders in the industry on LinkedIn, on X, like not too much so that it doesn't get into the hype as well. And there are like a couple of really good newsletters like TLDR AI, Alpha Signal. AI Collective itself has a newsletter called The Byte where Stephen published recently something. So those are like really great resources to keep yourself up to date. And then part of the thing is just like coming into the community, a couple of tools you got to know, like those were the first thing if you were hearing for the first time. And part of the mission is to actually just keep doing that, right? What are the tools that I know I can explain to you? What are the problems you know I can understand and build tools for them? So this is sort of like that.
Also, in terms of education, there's a revolution coming. I mean, it's already. I said to the university in the spring, I was like, okay, you cannot do what you've done for the last 45 years. And I just said, I just out like that. And they said, we know. They just don't know what to do, in many ways. So you got to be the champion internally. And it's about the students, right? They'll tell you what they want to know. But we cannot train a generation into obsolescence.
Yeah.
That's what we're graduating right now. These kids graduating right now have no effective learning of AI and are now coming into the job force. I mean, so keep teaching. I keep hanging in there. But I do think what I'm almost talking about, I've been writing about it for years. It's called adaptive learning. And the theory is, people learn in different ways. Some people learn from lectures, some people learn from video, some people learn from audio. When I developed my curriculum, I didn't realize I was trying to get to adaptive learning. But we're here in this time now where an endlessly patient tutor can teach you at your speed and in the way you learn best. So that's why you have a deer in the headlights look from a lot of PhDs and professors these days. But it's coming, and it's not going to not happen. Yes, sir.
I just hear you guys talk about sometimes the different models, whether it's Claude or Gemini and things like that. What I do, I'm a nerd, I'm a coder, part of what I do.
Right.
And I write robust personalities that will make a decision on which one of those will handle that task the best, then go and accomplish that task, then report back to me. Mine's fully functional in all my day-to-day things. For instance, she reminds me that you got your thing today.
Right.
I said, okay. I said, write me something that I can show everybody where I can collect email addresses. We've been working a lot on NemoClaw and stuff right now. Put it at this address, go. And I pushed enter, and I walked away. If you go up to Foley's.cloud right there, you'll see the result of about 15 minutes of my work and maybe 30 or 40 minutes of hers.
What you said?
And that was done today. FOLEYS.CLOUD. Foley.cloud.
Is that a domain?
Yeah.
Yeah, domain.
you have the space. Correcting us. Holy.
That's not about right. That's what you presented to me.
That's like a matrix.
And you can sign in and this will continue on. And it was the original, just build it to get that in, and then I did some customization, throw some graphics on the back and throw some spinning things on there. And that's a very robust Web3 page. If you right click it, it'll kind of say, I see what you're doing here kind of thing. And my bot actually can live behind that if I wanted to have it active and truly interacting with you on here. And as soon as anything happens on here or signs up, I get notified on Telegram. Or I could have that go to WhatsApp or Signal or Pick.
Right, and you're showing us
This is to show how easy the things are now.
Yeah.
This is where it's coming to and where it
Yeah.
evolves to.
Yes.
And it's not always, again, using a single model. I don't know what she used to build this, but that's not my job, that's her job.
Right.
So I program my person to go out and, depending on what it is we need, go choose that. And then if we need to keep token count low, and you're running local versions of Olama and things like that, which can be industry specified, you're greatly reducing your exposure and your costs, especially with something like NemoClaw, which runs everything that contains sandbox where it can't speak to the rest of the world unless you tell
Well,
it.
I think, Mike, we need you at a future AI.
Love
conference.
But can I add something?
Yes.
Because I'm in education also, and the way we talk about it, is that with AI integration, there's sort of, there's a vertical access where you can have highly technical understanding, be able to apply that understanding to build tools using AI. But for our students at Indian River, and for most people, there's a horizontal access, and that is, they're not going to develop the high-level technical skills that allow them to build stuff like this, and that's fine. But many will, but these technologies are going to be in every industry.
Yeah.
And so there needs to be a basic level of AI fluency.
Yes.
And there are frameworks out there that are really useful. So one is it's not built by Anthropic, it was adapted by Anthropic. It's called 4D AI Fluency. And if you go to their skills jar, they have this nice free course. It's great for students. It gives you some basics on how to interact with these systems in ways that are effective, efficient, ethical, and safe. So those are the kinds of things that are emerging in the public domain that I think help with broader access to these tools.
And that's super important, Bruce. Thank you very much. What was that called?
The Anthropic skill jar, if you go to Anthropic and just put in AI fluency, it'll come up. It's a free course, you get a little certificate, it's really helpful, they have additional resources. It was developed by some folks in Florida, actually, at Greenland College of Art and Design, Rick David. There you go. So it should be, there you go.
So the AI fluency framework and foundations right there, about 4 or 5 down. There it is.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, and it's a video-based course. They have some little exercises. It gives you a framework because this can feel insane. There's so much happening. There's so much change. There's so much disruption in education. That this at least gives a common vocabulary and some guidance.
That's super important because there's too much anxiety, and the headlines are anxiety producing about AI. That doesn't help anyone, really. And for other educators who are talking at different levels from me, I say go look at the Google courses, they're excellent. Go look at Anthropic's courses, they're actually excellent. Also, I know it sounds super geeky, but the concept of a neural network is super important here. And what people get wrong about AI too often, even now, is that they think it's a database or that it's sentient. It's not. It is neural networks. And what does that mean? That means it's basically the Gen AI tools have read every word on the internet. I'm generalizing, but this is okay. And they've turned those words into numbers. Those numbers are vectors. So the cat ate the mouse is no longer words. It's
numbers. And in the neural network, they all connect to each other. You see those graphics of the neural networks in our brain where there's a million connections. Those are the words connecting, the numbers connecting to the other numbers. So it's a miracle that we have Gen AI. The transformer invention from Google was a miracle, but it's getting washed away by this horrible story that we're all going to be eaten by robots in 10 years. So the reality of it is, it's a miracle that we're living through this revolution, and it will be dramatic, but you need to understand the basics, and for kids especially, younger people especially, they need to know what it is and what it isn't right now. And it's a moving target, but it's very important for all ages.
One other resource, the Department of Labor has released an AI literacy map. And they also have a course that's free, they're beta testing. You can get it on your phone, it's 10 minutes a day, and it does AI fundamentals for a week. And it's actually quite good. I did the course just to see what was being offered. That could be helpful.
Yeah, I signed up for it too.
So I'm the director of a nonprofit here in Bureau, and Jurgen got a chance to come in and see. Thank you. My name is Patrice. Thank you. So Jurgen got to come in and see last Thursday. We just opened our very first center. We've been around since 2006. We serve 4 counties. We deal with kids that have been rescued from trafficking. We do trafficking prevention, vision care, anything a child needs. So when I came on as a director last year, one of the things I said is let's look at everything a child needs. And one of that was looking at the technology that they're being born into.
Sure.
So what we are doing at the Beacon, right around the corner, is we're actually teaching them how to code in preschool. We get them at a preschool level, and we work with VEX, which is, this is just a simplified version. This is actually a math game sitting up here that I built on my way here today. It's called Fishing for the, you have to basically use a magnetic robotic arm and go pick up the correct answer. But we teach them how to do this, how to build, how to engineer, how to code, how to work together. We're tying this into Piper. We're getting them to tour there, see how it applies to real world. Most of you have probably heard of VEX and didn't realize you knew who VEX was. If you've ever seen Hex Bugs at Target or Little Kids Toys. Our high schools internationally compete using VEX. They have for over 30 years. I was actually one of the first educators for VEX in the state of Florida, and I was the first one in history to get elementary school competing with it. Back when it was metal parts that were not so child friendly. But I wanted to share, this is what we're trying to do. They have a full drone program too. So we're trying to get kids into the drone programs, understanding how to code them. So if you see funny things going down Little Dixie, that'd be me. And I'm okay with that. But I would love to have you guys come to the Beacon, and if anybody wants to head up a competition team, we're trying to look for team leaders to volunteer if you guys want to come in. If you guys want to come in and play with the VEX, I'm okay with that too, because I think Jurgen's going to come play with the VEX.
Alright, there couldn't have been a better ending than that. I want to open up the floor for you guys to network and mingle with each other, because that's an important part of the human connection. So thank you so much again for coming. You're going to hear more from Jurgen and Stephen coming months about the new events we'll be doing. If you have any ideas or feedback, feel free to come to us, and we would love to do more stuff like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.